Welcome back to Movie Recaps. Today I will show you a thriller film from 2016, titled Hush. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. A small house can be seen in the forest. Inside the house someone is making dinner, throwing asparagus in a pan, checking on the rice and the lamb rib in the oven. Maddie reads the instructions about the sauce she needs to prepare and later she tries it, disliking it horribly. She sees a message from her neighbor asking to come over and she says yes. Maddie plugs her computer to the charger and continues the conversation with her neighbor on her phone. Then she calls her cat in for dinner and feeds her. Her neighbor can be seen approaching the house. Maddie comes out to greet her. Sarah immediately tells her that she read her book and tries to converse with her in sign language because Maddie is deaf. She can read lips, but Sarah insists that she let her practice signing with her. Maddie asks her what she thinks of the book and she says that she loved it. She even tried to guess the ending but missed it completely. Maddie tells her that her writer's brain is the reason why she can come up with different types of endings. Any possible outcome plays out in her brain like a movie. She finds it hard to quiet the voices in her head. Sarah asks her how her inner voice sounds like and Maddie answers that it sounds like her mother. Suddenly, the fire alarm goes off in the house. They run inside and Maddie takes the alarm down, while Sarah takes the lamb out of the oven. Her cat escapes. Sarah says that the alarm is very loud, but Maddie tells her that it needs to be very loud so she can feel the vibrations in her sleep. Later, they sit on her porch talking about her cat. Maddie tells Sarah not to worry about it because she's very independent. Sarah asks her to come over and order something to eat because her food got ruined, but she tells her that she has to work. Before Sarah leaves, she rehearses the new signs she learned from her. After she's gone, Maddie gets a message from Craig, saying that he's thinking of her, but she deletes it. Later that night, Maddie is on her computer, eating and working on her new novel. She thinks through the ending of the book, but can't decide what would be the best one. Maddie reaches a hurdle in her writing so she decides to FaceTime Craig. She drops the call before it can establish a connection. He keeps trying to reach her, but she neither picks up on her laptop or her phone. Maddie goes to clean the mess she made in the kitchen when she was preparing dinner, when suddenly Sarah starts banging on her door in a panic. She hopes that Maddie would see her, but she gets shot with an arrow and then killed right in front of her window. Maddie doesn't notice a thing. The killer observes through the window and knocks on it to see if she'll hear him. When he realizes that she doesn't, he drags the body away. Craig keeps calling Maddie, but she doesn't want to pick up. She sits down to write again, but doesn't do much better than before. Meanwhile, the killer enters her house and walks up to her. Completely oblivious to his presence, she laughs about her writer's block. Suddenly, she gets a FaceTime call from her sister and the killer backs away from the camera. They talk about her novel for a moment, then Maddie tells her about Craig. Her sister tells her to get back in the dating pool, but she doesn't want to. Then she asks Maddie to come back to the city and live with her, to stop isolating herself. The killer grabs her phone from the counter and her sister notices it on camera. Maddie says that it's probably her cat, but that she needs to go find her. They say goodbye, then she calls her cat by using the sound of the food in her bowl. She doesn't come to her calls, as Maddie continues to look for her through the house. The cat isn't upstairs either. Maddie opens the door and calls the cat again, but leaves it open when she doesn't come to her. She sits down to write again. Suddenly, she gets a picture message from her own phone. The images are from her looking for the cat and the exact moment she looks at them on her computer. Maddie is scared and walks toward the door cautiously. She sees the killer standing on her porch. He shows her that he has her phone and she immediately runs to close the door in the last second. The killer keeps trying every door of her house, but when he realizes that he can't come in, he circles to the other side of the house and almost gets inside. Maddie goes to call 911 on her computer, but he turns the power off. She tries to join Sarah's network, but she doesn't know the password. He tries to mess with her, then walks off. Maddie goes to the door, only to see him slash the tires on her car and hide in the woods. She writes a message on the glass of the door and lights it up with a flashlight. The killer reads the message and takes off his mask. He asks if she can read his lips and she nods affirmatively. The man tells her that he knows that she lives alone and that there is no boyfriend coming. Then he tells her that he can come in the house whenever he wants, but he will only come for her when she'll be wanting to die. She nods that she understands. Before he walks away, he tells her that they can have fun. Maddie goes to her kitchen and gets a knife and a hammer, then goes back to the living room and checks it. Next, she gets to her bedroom, barricades the door and pulls the curtains on her windows. Maddie peeks through the window, but doesn't see him out. Suddenly, there's a shadow on her window. He knocks on it and she sees him doing that in the shadows cast on the ground. When she checks it, she sees that he's knocking on her window using Sarah's body. Maddie drops her weapons and goes back to the living room, crying. Suddenly, she remembers Sarah putting her phone in her back pocket. She takes her car keys out and tries to activate the car alarm, but can't do it through the window. She opens the door and quickly manages to activate it. The man hears it and she sees him walking over to the car. Maddie runs back to her room and looks for Sarah's phone in her pockets, but he comes back. She pulls back inside and slams the window on his fingers. In a fraction of a second she grabs her knife and stabs him. The man is bleeding, so he rips a piece of Sarah's shirt and wraps his arm with it. He realizes that she was looking for her phone, so he shows her that he has it, then he leaves it on the body. She walks back to the living room and he tries to open the window again. Moments later, Maddie sees him moving outside and hides from him. He peeks through the glass door and doesn't see her, but he figures out where she's hiding. She opens the door and leaves the house, hiding when she sees him. He walks right past her hiding under the porch, then she feels for the vibrations from his steps on the wooden floor. The man walks around the house again, tricking her to get out of hiding, and when she runs he shoots at her a few times with his crossbow, but he keeps missing. She gets back to the house and locks the door again. Maddie gets up to the second floor and observes him from there. When she sees that he's at the front door, she opens a window and climbs out on the back of the house. Maddie is careful to be extra quiet. He's at the front side of the house, so she throws her lit flashlight in the woods to distract him. The man follows the flashlight and she climbs down from the roof, when he shows up and he shoots her. He shoots her again and climbs up to see if he got her. Meanwhile she takes the arrow out of her leg, and when he reaches the roof, she pushes him off and grabs his crossbow. Maddie doesn't know how to load it, which gives him time to climb after her. She manages to get back inside the house before he reaches the window. Maddie points the crossbow at him and scares him away. She gets to her bathroom to take care of her wound. Maddie pours alcohol on it and wraps her leg to stop the bleeding. She's in her bathroom, crying and trying to figure out what to do, then she takes the crossbow and sees markings on it. Maddie tries to load the weapon, but she can't get the bow to the mechanism that holds it drawn. She tries again, but this time the man can see her through the bathroom window. Suddenly, another man knocks on her front door, looking for Sarah. Maddie doesn't hear him, but the killer does. The man is Sarah's boyfriend John. He sees the message on the door and wants to call the police, when the killer appears pretending to be a cop. He tells him to drop the phone, but John tells him that it's not a weapon and says that he doesn't want any trouble. The killer tells him to drop on his knees and show him his ID. John says his ID is in his wallet and that he'll put his phone down to take it out. He takes the wallet out and the man takes it from him. The killer looks at his ID, then asks if he lives next door. John nods and the man apologizes for scaring him. He lies to him that he responded to a call and that he found the place like that. Someone was inside the house and ran past him when he arrived, knocking him out. He says that the person also took his gun as well as his radio and that he needs to call the sheriff. John begins to doubt if he's a cop, but he tells him that he's a deputy and that he's new at the job. The man asks to use John's phone and he gives it to him. He pretends to call his station for John's benefit, but doesn't give him his phone back when he's done, and he puts it in his pocket. The two of them talk about Maddie and John tells him that she pretty much keeps to herself. He sees that the man's arm is bleeding and asks him about it, so he lies that the man that jumped him did it. John wants his phone back, and when he gives it to him, Sarah's earring falls out of his pocket. John recognizes it. He starts asking the man questions to see if he would be able to catch him in a lie. The man dodges all of them. In the meantime, Maddie is still trying to draw the bow and gets nowhere with it. John is still trying to figure out who the guy is, but at this point he's sure that he isn't a police officer. He tells him that Maddie has a key hidden in a planter at the bottom of the stairs. When the man goes down there to check, John picks up a rock and starts getting closer to him, chatting still, so he doesn't realize that he's planning something. The moment he gets a chance to hit him over the head, Maddie starts banging on the window and the man stabs him. John still goes after him, but the man runs around him until he falls on the ground. Maddie is seeing it all happen and the man thanks her for showing up at the right time. He leans toward John and he jumps him, tackling him over and grabbing him tightly. He tells Maddie to run. When she goes out the back door, the man runs after her and hits her over the head with a rock, killing her. That was just an outcome of her running away playing out in Maddie's head. Her inner voice tells her that she can't run. She's still inside the house. John dies before he could kill the man. Maddie keeps going through all the different possibilities and outcomes of her situation. She wonders if she could shoot him or go outside and get the power back on. She thinks about the places she could hide in the house, like the bathroom or the loft. Whatever she chooses, if he doesn't find her, she can still bleed to death. Outside of the house she can hide in the crawl space, but he knows that she hid there once. She's running out of time because she's getting dizzy, cold, and her vision is starting to blur. Her inner voice tells her that he has the advantage, one way or the other. She can't run, she can't hide, and she can't wait. Maddie suddenly realizes what she needs to do to save herself. Kill him. Meanwhile, the man is going through John's pockets and finds a pack of cigarettes. He goes over to Maddie's car and takes out the wrench. Sitting down on the car, he lights a cigarette and decides that he'll go inside the house in a little while, until she loses a bit more blood. Suddenly, her cat appears. He crouches down to her and is about to kill her, when Maddie shoots him with the crossbow. She runs back inside and he goes after her, catching her hand with the door and breaking it. He lets her hand go and she locks the door. The man breaks the arrow and tells her that he's coming in. Maddie stands up to face him, then uses her own blood to write "Do it, coward" on the glass. He walks to the car to get the wrench and Maddie writes down his description in the open document on her laptop. As he's breaking down the glass on her door, she writes a message for her mom and dad. Maddie hides in the bathroom and waits for him there. She begins to lose consciousness and doesn't notice him coming in from the window behind her. The man lets out a breath which she can feel on her neck, so she turns around dodging his knife and she stabs him. She runs out of the bathroom and gets to the kitchen, seemingly passing out on the floor. He limps toward her, ready to kill her when suddenly she sprays his eyes with wasp repellent. She grabs the fire alarm and activates it, further incapacitating him until he drops the knife. Maddie grabs the knife, but he pushes her on the floor and they fight. He almost kills her, when she reaches the wine opener and kills him. She regains her strength and takes her phone out of his pocket. She dials 911 and passes out. A bit later, Maddie walks out of her house and sits on her porch. Her cat sits next to her. The police finally arrive at the scene. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.